Well, you've been busy.
Listen, the 3 days of the con is amazing what can happen.
What can happen?
Nonsense, what shooting it up? Doesn't Miss Shaw herself so often remark for someone to pass you your test tubes to tell you how brilliant you are?
Oh, Doctor, you're brilliant. Yes, of course you are.
Miss Grant will fulfill that function, have you?
What's Kevin?
An optimist. You took an A-level in science.
Yeah, but look, I know I can see when they do notice. I'm sorry, Doctor, I just can't take it. How much do you need? Just wondering if you I'm sorry.
Did you have just a fun dinner? I really don't think you're suitable.
I'm a fully qualified agent, you know. Cryptology, safe breaking, explosive.
Even so.
I've really got off to a terrific start, haven't I? I find the man everybody's looking for. I forget where he is, and I end up by trying to go more sky high.
No one's blaming you.
Oh no, you won't just tell me to keep out of the way. I'm not a child, you know.
Well, you're acting like one.
But if only I could show you.
Don't try. Just do as the Brigadier says.
Yes, of course, you're quite right. Don't worry, I'll bring it back just as soon as I find out. Find the doctor and try to rescue him. It detects disturbances in a time field.
Well done, Joe. We're learning. So we've got all the time in the world. And all the space.
Doctor, don't smash this to pieces. Look at it. Vasculus is viewed from Mars.
Can't think of anything to say.
How about curses boiled together? Or a food game, Doctor? You make me feel so young. Hang on, wait for me, I'm coming too.
I'm interested. It's bound to be dangerous, probably different.
All the more reason you need me to look after
Sorry,
you.
Joe. It's not a rubbish, not this time. For a while.
Oh, no, you don't. Do it, Doctor. Quickly.
Still want to come?
Tis my job. Remember?
Glad to have you aboard, Miss Grant.
Glad to be aboard, Doctor.
In case I forgot to use it.
I've got to go. This Professor Jones, he's fighting for everything that's important. For everything that you fought for. Anyway, it reminds me of a sort of younger you.
Hey, Joe. Come and drink a toast of a happy couple.
That's us.
Fine, so it is. Fletching flies the cool.
Okay, well, what should I do?
Keep me company? Some coffee.
I can do it tea. Pretty company. Do you like a nice cup of arsenic?
A lady who needs no further introduction. Give it up for Kattie Manning. the door with this, send smoke
I'm
signals.
so sorry. I never watched myself. Do you blame me? I'm very much in the moment person, and I live totally in the O between the N and the W, because albeit those were joyous memories. Sorry, I'll give you a hug and hello in a minute. But I am, everything that happens right in front of you with me. And there I was having this wonderful moment with this baby, and then it just got that last bit with John. And every time that comes up, whether it's in a DVD or whatever, that memory, which, they're all lovely, but they're back there, aren't they? I'm here, and what's happening out there ain't done yet, And I remember how wonderful a time I had, and how much I loved John. And that's why I was crying. I'm sorry I'm doing it by because it's really stupid.
No, we're definitely going to get into that. I can't wait.
No, let's get out of it quickly. Bring back the baby.
Babies.
Oh, I left my tea behind.
This is what is fresh for you.
No, I want my Long Island tea.
Long Island.
I have news for you. If I end up in Betty Ford, it is for no other reason than I am addicted to Long Island tea.
I'll take a lot to speak later.
He's so cute, isn't he?
Oh, look who's talking. Look who's talking.
It's nice being an old lady. I can just look at men now and go, no, when you're young, it's sort of threatening, isn't it? Now I can just do it.
Whoever has pictures of that, please Facebook me immediately. So not only working with John is being inspiring, I'd like to go back, and I know that your father was actually quite a man of many talents from some reading I've done. So please, share with
Tissue, I'm so sorry.
we're going right for the heart.
Has anyone got a tissue?
Yeah,
Chris.
Chris. Give it up for Chris, who's been taking care of Taylor. Thank you, Chris.
Honestly, I have to say, Dad, I'll just say this quickly, because if I don't say it when it's in my head, it's gone.
Sure.
And then we'll get back to the questions. I do remember what you say. That all of the people working at this convention have been, all the helpers and the staff, they have been absolutely bloody terrific. Except Chris. No. No, I just had to say that because they have.
So I'm glad you had a great weekend and that you felt well together.
Honestly, I've got grin ache. I have smiled and laughed, and the enjoyment I get out of this. I didn't just show. She got up here and she's in tears, and he said, "Did you have a lovely weekend?" Yes. Sorry, keep going.
No worries. Your father was a man of many talents, from what I understand.
A righter of wrongs was my papa. Kind of, yes. And so him, I was very, came up in an early age, and so when I was working with John, I was working with another extraordinary man who became my mentor, and, somebody who will be in my mind and my heart forever, along with my father. They were both two of the strongest, most wonderful men in my life. Really amazing.
And I don't know if that inspired you for acting, but I believe your first audition, you went with a friend of yours who was auditioning. And then she said, well, why don't you go in and maybe do some voices? Is that true?
Well, actually, the voices came later. The voices came later. But just picture to yourself, and then I'll tell you this, because it's a cute story. But just picture to yourself if you were the parent of a child who was very odd, and you would hear strange sounds coming from wherever they were. And, a child of about 7 who can do, I'm the same way, or go, and then suddenly, the noises that come from, and my parents thought it was really weird, so, because sound was what I identified with, sound and colour. Anyway, back to the story you asked me about. My girlfriend, it's always quite hard to say this because I'm particularly private, but and it always sounds so weird coming just from this strange little woman who lurks in and out of conventions and things, right? But my best girlfriend was Liza Minnelli. And I don't know, go figure. And we were kind of these two little lost souls who met at Miss Dixon and Miss Wolfe tutorial school. I mean, are you interested in this? Because
Yeah.
I can go anywhere you want me to go. Anyway, so we met when we were like about 11, and we were so unattractive. No boys would come near us. You know, really, truly. My big thick glasses, we were both deeply, you know, so we kind of, and she used to come to my house all the time, and I used to go to her house with Mama, because, you know, our parents were away a lot, so we were these little lost souls, and we were deeply unattractive, but we thought we were fabulously funny, and we were inseparable, frighteningly inseparable. Anyway, one day we were just kind of wandering around. I had my little duffel coat with the band, the bomb badge, and my big thick glasses. Even back then. And she was there with her, you know, little plaid skirt and knee sock. I mean, we really were a right pair. And we went past the Shepherd's Bush Theatre, which was basically the BBC theatre. And it said outside on a big board, right, auditions. And she said, go in. And I said, no, why? What's the matter? She said, I don't know, get up and sing something. You know, I said, well, you know I can't sing. You know, and she said, just do something now. And, you know, your voices, Mama loves your voices. So anyway, in the end, she said, I bet you won't. So I thought, oh, right, now, red rag to a bull, isn't it? I bet you won't. Yeah, I will. So we go in, now there's all these girls in there, I promise you, with beautiful ringlets. I mean, so pretty. And they're party frocks, and I'm there, as I say, the duffel coat and the band, the bomb badge, and glasses, darling, that are hand ground and had to be curled around. That's why I've got such big ears, because it helped keep my glasses on. And so we go in, and she said, what are you going to do? Now you're here. So I said, I don't know yet, I'll think of something. So I go up, and they've gone through all these people, you know, all looking absolutely like, you know, Bonnie Langford, basically. You know, there was all these beautiful, and Liza. So eventually they call and they say, Kattie Manning. So I go up and they say, and yes, Katie, and what are you going to do for us today? And I said, I'm like 13. She said, what are you going to do for us today? And I said, well, I'm going to recite. Now, Liza is sitting at the back of the audience, right? I said, I'm going to recite. Well, you could hear every judge in there going, oh, you know, the thought of a reciting child. You know, as opposed to going on and saying, I feel pretty, I'm so pretty. So I get up there, and I take my big, thick glasses off, and I plonk them down in the front of the stage, and I go, there's a famous seaside place called Blackpool that's noted for fresh air and fun, where Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom took young Albert, their son. Now a fine young lad were our Albert, all dressed up in his Sunday swell, with his stick with the horse's head handle, the best that Woolworths could sell. Now there were not much to do in Blackpool. The waves were all fiddling and small. There were no wrecks and nobody drowned. In fact, nothing to laugh at all. So, I won't carry on. It goes on forever. I'll just give you a little bit more to give you an idea of where I took these people. So seeking further amusement, they paid and went to zoo. With lions and tigers and elephants too. Now, there were one great big lion called Wallace, whose face was all covered in scars, and he lay in a somnolent posture, with his nose pressed against bars. Now Albert had heard all about lions, how they were ferocious and wild, but straightway the brave little lad, without showing a morsel of fear, took his stick with the horse's head angle and bunged it in Wallace's ear. Now it all goes on eventually. They try to get their money back because the lion swallows little Albert whole and leaves naught but his cap. And so they want their money back because the Wallace has eaten their little lad. Anyway, so there was, as there is here, stunned silence. Except for one thing. From Liza at the back of the room.
And you get a lot of mileage out of that story. Thank you so much for sharing that. You went on, and of course, eventually you got your agent, your Australian agent, who also ran a deli.
It was a long time later.
A long time later.
Well, I mean, I always interrupt this, but just very quickly, because nothing lasts more than 5 minutes. But I actually had a huge car crash, and so about 16 to like 18, I was hospitalised. This whole side of my face is rearranged. Badly, but it's been rearranged. So went through all that for a long time. Then I decided to be an actress when it really wasn't looking possible. I thought, well, and then yes, I went to America. I was offered a 5-year contract with MGM. Actually, that was prior to the accident. Came back. Eventually, I went to drama school. Eventually, I came out, and eventually, I was in a television series, and then I got Doctor Who. Did I get you that quickly?
Yeah, quickly. Thank you so much.
There's a lot happened in between.
And let's get into that. Your first story was the Terror of the Autons, and that's where you were found a bond with producer Barry Letts. And I was fortunate enough to meet Barry at earlier conventions, and what a great guy. Please, your
He
reflection
was,
on Barry.
I say, when we talk about this thing about women in Doctor Who, and I do have a very strong opinion, as you've now just seen, Barry Letts did not let that happen. Because if you can see there, Joe, right from the word go, is a solid, feisty little number. And I never got relegated into that area. And I do thank Barry Letts, who was very keen, as I've grown up with this, of not doing that with the women in his show. And you saw that with Sarah Jane and so on. So I was very lucky to have been in that time with such a remarkable producer. As I say, when you see it, do you see why I say she wasn't that way? Because it was, I think it's as clear as the nose of my face.
Well, and speaking of voices, you lifted your voice a bit to play Joe, didn't you?
Well, can you imagine? Having a deeper voice than the doctor, the brigadier, and everybody else inside. Except every now and again it did come out, and John would say, I think we'll do that again. She sounded like a very butch lorry driver. I was even described once by my leading man in the West End. I was doing my first West End show, and I was very excited because my name was up in lights, so I knew where to go, which was great. It was in big print, you know what I mean? And I remember one day my leading man said, yes, well, my leading lady sounds rather like the Queen Mary docking from time to time.
At that time, then, was your, your chemistry, or did you and John Pertwee click immediately, or did that develop over time?
There's a shot on the very first day's filming, which meant that we had no rehearsal, so we hadn't got to know each other. And you'll see us standing together. And actually there's a sort of a bit of a rubber mask belonging to Roger Delgado's face. Sure. Yeah. And if you look at any of the shots from the Terror of the Autons, from the film part, you can see that bond was instant between John and I. I mean, it was just there, absolutely, regardless of how nervous I was. He literally took me under his wing, as did Nick, and so on. So anyway, we were bonded from basically day one, and it just grew stronger and stronger and stronger. And Barry Letts said, that's gold to any producer, right?
Of course, it evolved from there, and then you got lucky. It was Roger Delgado and Tom Crispin in that first episode. And that was Delgado's first as well.
It was Delgado's first. It was Real Army, Real Navy. It was, they got 2 and 6 budget to work with special effects because it was beginning to see that this was the up and coming thing. When you bear in mind, we didn't have computers and stuff like that. And we didn't, you know, so everything that was done in that show, can you imagine how hard everybody had to work to get these special effects? So there was this team of brainstorming people, which is so energizing to work with, because it wasn't really focused on the actors, it was focused on the show constantly. And that really was